Hey guys, it's Elena. Today I wanted to digitally paint a lily in Procreate with 2 different colors in the same brush stroke. And we will be using the Procreate app and my dual color brushes for Procreate. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start out, let's make a new canvas and let's go with 10 by 8 inches. And for this piece, I wanted to do a background that was not white because you can use white in your paintbrush if your background is not white, and it can be really striking and beautiful. So I wanted to give that a go. So let's go to the palette that comes with the brush set called Backgrounds. And I wanted to do kind of this bluish color. So I've just made the blue check mark come onto here so that it shows up on my wheel. And going to my layers panel, I'm going to tap where it says background color and then choose this bluish color. And we'll see how we like that. We might change it, but we'll go with that for now. And the brushes that I wanted to use, I have my dual color brush set that is available for purchase, and the link is in the description. And for the brush that I wanted to use, I wanted to try something from the dynamic section of brushes. So these ones are not angled with your brush, but these ones depend a lot on the pressure instead. So first I will choose my colors. So up here on my color dot, I'm tapping that, and I've got my primary set to this background color currently, and then I have white as my secondary. But I wanted the petals to be white and maroon or purple or something like that. So I'm just having a look at my blue, purple, red color palette that comes with the brush set. And I think I wanted to go with this color here, and we'll see how that looks with white. If you just select that secondary color and double tap over by the white, then that becomes your secondary color. And I think we'll try it both ways. We'll try it right now. White is the primary color because I've selected that one. And you can see that it's the primary color because it matches the dot. Or we could try it with this maroon as the primary color. We'll try it with both and see what we like best. So now to pick a brush, thinking about maybe Streaky. I'm thinking about the Streaky Dynamic 7525, and these numbers indicate how much of the primary color is in it and how much of the secondary color is in it. So I'm going to make that a bit bigger, and then I'm just going to have a look and see how that looks. And I do like that, but I think maybe I want a bit more white. So I'm going to go with Streaky Dynamic 5050 instead. Let's see how I like that. I do like that a bit better. I think I'm probably going to go with that, but let's just check and see how we feel about Very Messy as well. That one is, according to the name, just a bit messier than the other ones. I think I'm going to go with the one called Streaky Dynamic 5050. And I do like having the maroon on the inside, I think, with the white kind of contrasting with the background. But if you want to switch it, you can just go in your colors and select the other color. And then the colors will be switched so that the white is on the inside and then the red is on the outside. But I think I'm going to go with white on the outside, red on the inside. And making the brush just a little bit bigger, we're going to go ahead and start out by making about 5 or 6 petals, rather large petals. And I'm going to do it mostly over here so that I can have a stem coming out. I'll just start out with very little pressure, adding pressure and then letting up on the pressure, then adding more and then letting up. And I'm going very slow. Sometimes it can be hard to meet up at the bottom, so I'm going to do that again. So not very much pressure, more, less again, more, less again. Meeting at the bottom here. Okay, happy with that leaf. So I'm going to continue doing a few more leaves all the way around. I think I'm okay with that as my main flower. However, I do want to manipulate it just a bit because I feel like it's very much over on the side of the page. So I'm going to my arrow tool and I can move it over a bit and rotate it. I wanted to rotate it a bit like that. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead with the stem and the leaves, and then I will come back to the middle of this and add some things. So for the stem and the leaves, I'd like to try a green color with white. So I'm going to go to my dual color greenery color palette that also comes with a brush set. And I'm just looking for green that goes with this. And I think that may be this one. I'll try that out. I still have white as my secondary color. And I think I'm going to go with my very messy dynamic brush for this and make it fairly small. And then I'm going to add a stem coming down. Also, I would like to do this in a separate layer. So I'm adding a layer and bringing that down below the flower so that I can draw it coming out from behind the flower like that. So let's just label these flower, stem, and leaves. Okay, so making sure I'm on my stem and leaves layer, I will go ahead and make a little stem coming out. So I'm going to start here even though you can't see it, and then I'm just going to bring it down. I think that's okay. I'm going to make it a bit bigger and do some leaves with the very messy brush. I think I want that a bit bigger. Now I'm going to turn my page to do the other one. I don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical, so I'm just going to do another leaf here as well. Also because I'm not really happy with how that looks, that part there where it's meeting. So I'm just going to keep drawing leaves. So I think I'm very much in danger of going overboard at this point, so I'm just going to stop with the leaves. So now that we've got the stem and the leaves done, let's go back to the flower layer and add the middle of the flower. So in our layers panel, we've got the flower and the stem and the leaves. So I'm choosing the flower layer again. And actually, I might want to go ahead and just do this in a separate layer above this. So I'm adding a new one. I'm going to name that flower 2. And for the middle of the flower, let's choose a different brush altogether. Down here at the bottom, we've got the splatter brushes. So I'd like to choose the messy random strokes so that we can just make a little middle of the flower here. So for the colors, let's go back to the blue, purple, red, and choose the same color that we had before, which was this one for the flower. And now we've got this maroon and the white and the messy random strokes. So let's see how that looks as the middle. And actually, I've decided I would rather have an orange color in the middle instead of the same color for some contrast. So let's choose this orange color instead and see how that looks. I think I'm okay with that. But maybe I'll switch colors. So I went in here and I switched my primary and my secondary colors just to see how this looks. I might try a different, I'm going to try messy random dry instead. I like that very much actually. I'm just switching colors again and then going a little bit more. So I think I'd also like to add a bit of splatter. So I'm going to my 2-color splatter, which is also right next to these random strokes, and making that quite small. I'm gonna make it even smaller actually. And then I'm gonna use that in the middle here as well. Now I'm gonna make that a bit bigger and just do a tiny bit more splatter. So let's finish off the flower now that we've added this nice texture, still with the orange and the white selected. And we've chosen white as our secondary for pretty much everything in this piece, but I think it looks really good on a non-white background for the contrast. So I'm really enjoying that. But for the middle of the flower stalks, I'd like to use my Streaky Oil number 3 brush. And we've got white and orange selected. And let's see how this looks with just a couple of little stalks coming out of here. So I'm trying to be a bit random with the size and some smaller ones on the edges. And then we want to have some of these little things on the ends. I'm not sure what they're called. Someone in the comments can tell me what they're called, I'm sure. But let's go ahead and go back to, in our blue, purple, red color palette, we've got this brownish color down here. So we've got brown and white selected now. And we want to make these little guys kind of pointing down. So let's just go ahead and see how we can do that on the end of each of these, just adding these little seedy things. I think that looks okay. Might want a couple of smaller ones coming up in the front. So I'm going back to my orange. We've still got the Streaky Oil number 3 selected. Adding another stem here, here, and here. Now we're going back to the brown and adding little seed things on them. Okay, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I think I might want to add some little speckles going up each of these leaves, just a little bit. So I'm going back down to my 2 color splatter now that I've got my brown. And then I'm just kind of adding a little bit of speckle on each leaf. And actually, you know what? I feel like that should be underneath of the middle of the flower instead. So it's good actually that we've done this separately. So I'm going back down to the main flower layer and I'll add my speckles here so that they're underneath the middle of the flower. And I like how that looks. I think I'd like a couple of really big splatters behind everything as a background. So I'm making a new layer, putting that below everything and naming that background. And I think I will go back to my maroon color. I think it was this one. And I'm going to choose the 2 color Sparse splatter, make it fairly large, and then just add some little splashes around the edges here. That's a bit too much. I'm gonna make it smaller and then do a bit more here. So I think I'm okay, happy with that now. I hope that this was helpful for you and that you learned something. And thank you so much for watching with me, and I will see you next time.